Hello and welcome to my channel. My video for today is going to be my 28-week pregnancy update. It has been a pretty eventful week. The first thing I wrote down is that I am constantly needing to go pee. I have like a constant pressure pushing down. It's pretty uncomfortable, but that's the first thing. I am going pee literally every 30 minutes. The next thing I wrote down, I don't even know if it's normal. My boobs feel like as though they're completely full of milk and I need to nurse to relieve the pain. I don't know if that's normal. I don't remember having this at all when I was pregnant with my son Wyatt. That's just completely new to me. They just feel like constant pressure, and all I'm wearing currently is sports bras because my regular bras do not fit at all. They're just the most uncomfortable thing in the world. It's not even like there's something like really like holding them to like put pressure on them. It's just weird, but that's just something I have been feeling that started just this last week. The next thing I wrote down is that it has become a chore to pick up Wyatt. He's 2 and he weighs 36 pounds. I feel like my stomach is growing and holding him, even rocking him in his rocking chair at night before I put him to bed. I feel like him laying on my stomach is just like constant like, oh, I just feel like I'm just turning into a big complainer. I will continue to pick him up throughout my pregnancy. I'm making the exception because that's just not something that I will give up. The next thing I wrote down is that apparently I have started snoring very loud. I had this my last pregnancy too, but I thought it was closer to the end. The other night, my husband actually had to get up and change beds in the middle of the night because I wouldn't stop snoring. The last time I was pregnant, the snoring went away as soon as I gave birth to Wyatt, so I think maybe that will happen this time as well. I do feel a little bit bad about my snoring, but I have dealt with his snoring for the last 11 years and there's nothing I can do about it. It's just temporary. His is permanent. The next thing I wrote down is the big thing for the week. I had not felt any movement from the time I put my son Wyatt to bed until the next morning. So I had put Wyatt to bed around 7:30. After I had put him to bed, I thought about it and was like, oh, I haven't felt any kicks or anything for a while and I'm supposed to be counting my kicks. My last video I just wrote, I've been feeling crazy amounts of kicks. And then I had drank a bunch of ice water and still didn't feel anything, and I was kind of like, oh, this is weird. And I ended up going to bed early. The next morning, normally after my coffee, there's a lot of movement. So I went to work and I drank my coffee and still nothing. And I was like, okay, this is kind of weird. And at that point, it was still maybe 8:30 in the morning, but I'm up at 5:45. So there was like a long period of time where I could have felt movement but just didn't. My doctor's office wasn't open yet, so I couldn't even go and talk to my doctor. So I called HealthLink, which is just a number you call. It's a nurse on the line and they'll tell you whether to go up to the hospital or they think it's fine. And I called and she's like, no, you need to go up, which I thought I did anyways, but I just needed like the reassurance in my brain, like, okay, I'm not crazy. I went up to the hospital and they hooked me up to the machine. The second she put like the little monitor on me, we could hear the heartbeat. So she's like, okay, everything is still okay. But it was just concerning to why I couldn't feel anything. So they determined that it's because I have my anterior placenta, which I told them I have. I know I have it, but that hasn't stopped me feeling movement prior to that time. So I just was like, okay, that like I don't really agree. And I thought, okay, maybe the baby's sleeping, but like that's a long period of time. And they even said, no, the baby doesn't sleep that long. So that just didn't make me feel good. When they put the monitor on, about 5 minutes later, I did feel a kick, and they said that like the monitor is something that like bothers them, I think they said. So like they're like, yeah, you typically, once you get hooked up to the monitor, even if you hadn't felt something for a long time, normally they start moving because they can hear it. I'd felt maybe a few kicks while I was there, enough for them to let me go home, and they said everything was fine. Like they're happy with the pattern that was in like the heart and everything. So they let me go. They did give me some tips on if I don't feel the baby move going forward, which I have felt the movement. I think the baby might have changed position. Maybe they're kicking towards my back and not just up, because you could see the kicks before. Some of the tips that they had given me is that she said if you take an empty pop can and you put it on your stomach and then you like flip the tab on it, it can create the same kind of sound as if you had like the monitor on your stomach at the hospital. It's the same kind of annoying sound to them that they'll start moving from it. So she's told me to do that. She said to eat ice cream or just sweets in general because sugar, it will get the baby moving. Drink ice cold water, place something cold on your stomach. So those are the things they told me to try if I don't feel the kicks going forward in the future. But she said I did the right thing by going to the hospital, even if it turned out to be nothing, which thankfully it did. I'm happy I went. I got the peace of mind that I needed. Yeah, it was pretty frightening because it went from like, say 7:30, I realized I hadn't felt anything for a while. So before 7:30 p.m. to I drove to the hospital at 8:30, so I maybe got there around 9 a.m. So that's kind of a long stretch to not feel anything, like absolutely anything. So that's everything I wrote down for the week that has changed. So I did buy something for the baby slash for me. I did get the Haakaa, I think that's what it's called. And basically when you're breastfeeding on one side, this will catch the letdown on the other side. I exclusively breastfed Wyatt. I didn't give him a single bottle, but what I think is that for your second baby, like I'm not just gonna be able to sit down and just relax all day. I'm gonna have to be up and doing stuff around the house because there's Wyatt, who is a very active little boy. So I think that that will be something nice to have, that I can hand Kai the baby and say, here, you feed a bottle while I get up and make dinner or do something. I might change my mind and just be like, okay, no, I'm just going to breastfeed. I think that this is easy, so I'm gonna give this a try and see how I like it. So that's everything I have for my 28th week. I'm just gonna show you my bump and then we're done. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.